Hello! Welcome various fruit bats. Welcome to the Airships development stream. If you're currently watching and rewatching the Fallout 4 announcement trailer, I understand. But hey, maybe you're dropping in here and seeing what I'm up to. So, what am I up to? Well, it's going to be the usual Airships development. More things relating to landships and legs and the various things that need to work properly for that. Okay. Pressing buttons. Here we are. Here's the screen. I actually have some background music this time because after the fiasco with the whole putting music on that was under copyright, I found some decent music that isn't under copyright, so we are going to listen to some Rimsky-Korsakov. There we go. One of my favorite pieces of orchestral music. I hope it's about the right volume. Let me know if the background music is too loud or incredibly quiet. Oh, hi Mr. Cow, Stray 20 and Fushigi 87. Nice of you to join us. Let's get started with some development. Okay, so place ship needs to work for landships. There's a function in the code that's meant to deal with placing a ship in a valid position. And that doesn't really seem to understand the idea of landships and their particular requirements for being placed. And that means that landships are going to keep on being put into the reserve instead of actually placed in the main combat arena, which is not great. So let's have a look into that. There we go, this is the function. And it's actually really simple. All it's doing is it's looping over possible locations at a granularity of 32 pixels and checking whether there's enough free space to place the ship. And conveniently, I can immediately see why this is completely and utterly wrong. The reason it's wrong is that it's making a call to the service ceiling of the ship. So that's the maximum height the ship can fly to. And of course, if this is a land ship, that service ceiling is somewhere deep beneath the ground, which means that it can't find anywhere to place it. So in fact, it will never loop around because the service ceiling is negative, so SY is going to start up being bigger than ground level, which means that it will just literally never go into this loop and just go to return false. So this is wrong. We can fix it. Basically, we need to ask, is this kind of ship a kind of ship that's on the ground, say, a land ship? And if so, we need to do a slightly different piece of code. Namely, we can figure out where its Y position should be based on the springiness of its legs and so on, and so we just need to look at possible X positions. So we only need the inner loop. But now we still need SY, and I'm just gonna sneak a look at some other code to see exactly how we did it. There, that's what we want. We want get adjusted Y. Yep. I believe that will work correctly. Hi Calstack. If I'm mispronouncing your names, I'm sorry. As I previously complained about, I'm reading your chat on the iPad, and the iPad's decided that size 10 light grey is perfectly reasonable way of printing text, which doesn't work if the iPad's like half a meter away from you. My eyesight's fine, honest. Okay, we needed place ship tool dot get adjusted y. So we're just going through the code which is there to automatically place ships and teaching it about what sane places to put landships are, namely slightly above the ground. Not quite sure why this needs a base y coordinate, but let's give it one. It's a lovely idea, but we do not have this information. So it's just run into the exact same problem that we ran into, or nearly the same problem that we ran into last stream, which is because there's a whole bunch of different ways in which the bits of landscape get stored. This thing here is expecting a particular format for this information, and we can't provide it. So we're gonna have to go in there and fix things up in a moment. Okay. Okay. So this works except for the fact that we're not actually passing in the land formations, so we can't possibly get a ground offset right. So let's look at that now. There we go. So to avoid having to do vast amounts of work, hi Chosen Llama. To avoid having to do vast amounts of work, we're just going to make two versions of this, one calling the other. So this version now handles the extraction. If it's been given a uniscreen, it handles the extraction off the ground. Which will allow the other function to just deal with the correct behavior. Wow, lots of people on stream. That's interesting. So evidently 16:30 from this one data point is quite a good time to stream. Nice to know. Well, I don't know how many people are actually on the stream. I can just see who's joining the room, so maybe it's just lots of people dropping in. But hey, yeah, as usual, if you have any questions about the game or about what I'm doing, let me know and I will give you answers by voice. There we go. Now this can be simplified slightly. There we go. So now this can deal with just being passed in the ground, and it also has a version for extracting the unit screen information. That works. So here in City now, we can do ground. Ta-da! Okay, now I mean the question is, does this actually work? So we're going to have to set up a little test about whether it actually works. The proper way to do this is to actually first make sure that we can provoke the problem and then see that we can fix it having provoked the problem again, because otherwise we don't know if we've actually done anything. So I'm actually just going to comment out all the work I just did and just run the game without the fix and see that I can my flatmate is attempting to psychically kill her computer. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to build the Landship. That was daft. Again, we're going to build a Landship. We're going to do it in a way that doesn't involve accidentally going over the Landship that doesn't have proper graphics yet. There we go. So we're building the ship. Okay. Then we're going to send it off to invade somewhere. Then we're just going to save this game state. Hope saving works. I've never saved. No, probably will. Now we're going to tell it to move right back home. Look at the defenses, and okay, so that worked because of course it stayed in the same position, which was still valid. So we're going to have to do something slightly clever. We're going to move this building on top of where it wants to go, which means it will have to be repositioned. Let's do this. Yep. So when the Landship arrives back at its base, it's going to be unable to be placed where it was, and this will trigger the place ship algorithm, which should then fail horribly. Let's see if it does. Yep. See, it's ended up here in the reserve, which is bad because in practice actually it should have been possible to place it like here. So now, having demonstrated that this is actually a problem, we can now comment back in the fix we have and actually see if the fix fixes anything, right? I don't know why I always use the plural in this. It's not the royal we, I think it's like the creepy psychologist we or something. It's like, how do we feel about this? Or something, I don't know. I guess I just want to make you guys feel included. Anyway. Landship test. Okay, go back home, Imperator Furiosa. Yeah, see, it worked, it worked. It worked. We found a new place to put the Landship. So we've fixed the bug, and we've demonstrated that we've actually fixed the bug. So we can take that one off. And commit it to Git. Awesome. Okay, figuring out the max carry weight. That's the next thing. I have this theory that this is going to be really easy and fun, but I might be wrong. Let's see. Today's liquid is Coke with a whole lot of ice in because it's 30 degrees C and we're on the south facing hill, which means that we're basically boiling to death. So like if I suddenly like fall over or something, well, I mean, okay, as long as my flatmate and I don't like succumb to heat exhaustion at exactly the same point, we should be fine. Okay, figuring out the maximum carry weight. The maximum carry weight should really just be the maximum carry weight of all the legs in all the modules. So ooh, I'm not sure how this will interact. Oh no, it will work. I mean, it's not really the legs, it's the springs that matter, and everything's got springs, so the wheels too. So really we have a maximum upwards force that the springs can generate. And that basically just needs to be okay, basic physics, right? F equals m times a, right? Force equals mass times acceleration. We have a force here. We know the acceleration, and that gives us the mass. So we just want m equals F divided by a. There we go. There we go. Now we just need to actually implement get max force. Which is so it's the maximum amount by which it will actually compress times its spring constant is the maximum force the spring can exert. And that will result in some number. Now the interesting question is, did I do this right? Does this number have anything to do at all with reality? Well, we're just going to have to find out. We go into ship editor utils and add this as a stat. So the weight is now always relevant. So actually are these. Right. Making it read the text about the carry weight if it's insufficient. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, of course, all of these only make any sense if the ship type's actually mobile. We do not need to show any of this information for stuff that for buildings, right? Let's see what comes out. I mean, likely the max carry weight is going to be really quite a lot higher than what's a sane value, because I mean that's literally the point at which the tipping point at which your limbs will collapse from the weight. And you probably want something slightly better than barely not collapsing, but let's see. Yeah, there we go. So this says it has a maximum carry weight of 4,200. That's actually quite believable. Okay, so let's do something stupid wherein we just make this poor thing too heavy to actually walk, yeah? by just adding small kills on the top. Yeah, so now it's too heavy. I haven't yet put in any code to prevent the player from building a ship like that. That's going to be the next step, but just going to have a look at what this looks like in combat. Well, it looks ludicrous. It can still actually walk, but it looks ludicrous. Yeah. Okay, so let's play around with this a bit. Remove one of them. Oh look, it's a bug. This is moving underneath my cursor. And so everything I do twice. Thought I fixed that one, never mind. Still looks ludicrous, right? Oops. So yeah, I'm just experimentally figuring out how much weight it really should be allowed to carry without looking daft, and then I'm going to put that in as a multiplier for the de facto max carry weight, and just not allow heavier landships to be built. Okay, so now it's only got 1101 weight. It's still sort of heavy, but that's sort of okay. Well, I don't know. The problem is still that this is actually going downwards, which looks wrong. So I think I might actually have to set the max weight at 50% of the theoretical maximum, just to avoid this kind of weirdness. Yeah. Let's just see if we can get that weight precisely right. So if we made it exactly 1000 units by means of, God knows, these are not very heavy, are they? Something. If you see all of this red text, that's just stuff where there hasn't been a translation key added yet. That's why it's red. So now the Landship's exactly half as heavy as the theoretical maximum. It's being mispositioned. Yeah. Yeah, still too heavy. Let's try like 800. Or 750. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want the legs to be, actually going further down and then up again, because that's weird and clearly wouldn't actually work. Okay, so its legs are now barely above the horizontal. To answer, the max weight should be 0.75 times the weight that the springs can. No, less than that. Half of 0.75. Okay. Times iMath. There. Oh. Okay. So that's the maximum carry weight. And now we need to actually enforce this, so we're going to put something into the rules for what constitutes a valid ship to say, oh, you're going over your maximum carry weight, we won't have you here. Yep. That again is in ship editor utils. So we need it in ship errors. There we go. No, there's no second bond. Validness is just checked by if the errors list is empty or not. Okay, so that should do. Hope you're enjoying the background music. It's Rimsky-Korsakov. Let me know if you would like it louder or quieter. So let me know if you have any questions, as before. Let's do Landship editor, open. Too heavy. Now it says, oh, it's too heavy by 7 points. And now it's fine. Okay. So that works. Yeah. we should just check how well this works with four-legged ships. So we have here our Imperator Furiosa. And now let's just add like extra modules. There we go. Perfectly up to the limit of what you can technically support. Let's see if that's still working correctly. Yeah, that's okay. Again, it's kind of clearly weighed down, but it's managing. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that limit seems about correct in both two-legged and four-legged cases. Look at it, it's basically sitting down. Okay. So we can mark that as fixed too. Okay. Right, so the next is another small fix, which I will just demonstrate because it's an easy thing to show. Why did I say easy fix? Never say the words easy fix. That's just inviting horrible things to happen. So you put our Landship, the Imperator Furiosa, say here. And it's being drawn correctly, right? That's nice, that's nice, that's good, right? Pop! And then it disappears. And the reason it disappears is that the actual body of the ship is out of the frame. And hence the game goes, yeah. We're done here. We don't need to even draw the ship. And it turns out that this is wrong. We do still need to draw its legs. So we need to change the code that is trying to be nice and clever and reduce the number of ships that need drawing. Okay. Let's have a look at the there we go. It's all of these, so we're checking whether the cropping rectangle intersects the rectangle of the ship. But this is now more complex because the ship is no longer because the ship now has things sticking out, has limbs sticking out. So I think we're going to have to add a new method to the ship where we can ask the ship, should you be drawn? Should I also add this to ship? Because there's already too much stuff in there. Just add it to Uniscreen. So I start out by just having this normal version and using this helper function. And let's just replace all the calls to actually use that. Okay, now we just need to make this here function cleverer, and we need to play some more music. It's just gonna have to be a repeat of what you just listened to, because while I have other music, I'm now like, well, I don't want to, you know, accidentally play something copyrighted, so more Rimsky-Korsakov it is. Okay, basically we need to add the additional width and height and so on that might have accrued into the ship from the fact it has limbs. And so we need to loop over each leg, and we need to consider both the knee joint and the end point of the limb, and extend the bounding rectangle of the ship by those points, adding on top of it the potential extra width from the fact that the legs don't have a width of 0 either, right? Okay, so looping over all the modules. You might wonder, why the hell am I suddenly using old style loops here? The horrible answer is that this is one of those pieces of code that potentially gets called a lot. And if you use a new style loop, like you are actually creating an object, and this means that you end up with lots of garbage being generated, lots of memory being allocated, and then you get garbage collection pauses, and that makes the game run less smoothly. I had a big a huge discussion on some Java developer forums about whether or not this could possibly be the case, because surely, you know, the garbage collector in Java is clever enough to deal with this, and all I can say is empirically, I had these garbage collection pauses. I tracked it down to iterators being created in these loops, And when I changed around all the major loops to not using iterators, the pauses went away. So, empirically speaking, this is a problem. It would be nice if it weren't, but it seems to be. So yeah, just have to use slightly old style looping here for garbage collection reasons. Okay, so we have each module, and then we need to go for final int else m dot legs. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to figure out where the knee joint and so on is, and I think for that we have functions inside leg already. We don't, no we don't, but actually they're very easy. So it's, because first we need to calculate the hip x and y. Yeah. This is a bit complicated because we're having to recapitulate so much random stuff. Which is available elsewhere, but we need it here too. Okay, so we've got the module x and y. Now we've got the hip x and hip y, which we assume are inside the ship, so that's not an issue. But then now we have the x and y of the knee and of the foot. So double trig. I'm pretty sure that's right. Just sanity checking how I did it in here. Oh yeah, maybe multiplying with the length of the limb might make it more correct. There we go. Then finally we also need the width of the leg. So then we have double leg And that's the height because the graphics for the legs are horizontal. Yeah, that's probably about right. Okay. Now we go sx equals math.min of knee x minus leg. So if necessary, now widening the containing rectangle for the ship by how much the limbs that are coming out of it are actually adding. I think that's right. No, that should be sx. Yes. Yes, because the width of it will also have to be higher. Blue. Oh dear. So what I'm having as a problem right now is that what happens if there's the box of the ship and there's a bit sticking out, and we're saying, okay, actually the x coordinate of the ship should be there. Okay, we have to do this differently. In the curve, we shouldn't be looking at ship x, ship y, ship width, ship height. We should be looking at ship left, ship... Yeah, okay. We're going to go for the absolute coordinates of the ship's bottom and right. There we go. Now insanity is gone, hopefully. And here, of course, it's not going to be. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the knee, and now we just need to do basically the same thing. But with the foot. Footy. Yeah. So that's the position of the foot. Then we basically do the same thing again here. So the bounding x is whatever smaller. Okay, there we go. In some theoretical universe, this now all works correctly, and Ships which have their limbs still poking into the screen but don't have their bodies on screen anymore will nevertheless still be drawn. Right. Let's hope that works. Oh, okay. So as a sanity check, so I'm just going to say that whenever its evaluation has decided that it doesn't need to draw a ship, it's actually going to just print out a little piece of text, because like the problem here is that if I messed up this code and it actually causes all ships to be drawn, even if they're way off screen, then that will look fine, but this whole code then becomes pointless and the performance optimization is broken. So let's see what happens. Ships still get rendered. That's a good first step. And looky here, looky here, looky here, looky here. Boop! And now it's skipping. Now it's not skipping. So far so good. Yeah, skipping. Not skipping. Skipping. Not skipping. Not skipping. Skipping. Awesome. That works correctly. So, yeah. Just one of those little graphical details, you know.